Hello and a very warm welcome to the latest edition of Matchpoint. This is the program here on CCTV Africa, bringing you sports news, action, highlights and features from a uniquely African perspective. My name is Mahia Mutwa. It's great to have you with us tonight. Coming up in tonight's show. Aiming higher, South Africa's Blitzbokke hope to better their performance at the Sevens World Series. Also on Matchpoint tonight, we look at the challenges facing women's basketball in Africa. And former NBA player Yao Ming talks about his charity work. Welcome to Matchpoint. We begin with rugby, and the new Sevens World Series gets underway in Australia next month. Africa will once again be represented by both Kenya and South Africa down under. After finishing second in the table for the last 2 years, South Africa's Blitzbokke are determined to go one better this time round.
A Brazilian ambition. South Africa's Rugby Sevens side could be forgiven for already dreaming of Olympic gold at Rio 2016. Having just claimed the Commonwealth Games title. Those performances in Glasgow swept South Africa to an all-time high. But not everyone is getting carried away just yet.
To have won the gold medal at the Commonwealth Games, and it's almost a two-edged sword where you can take that momentum from there and take it to the new season, but you also need to realise that you need to almost start all over again. Nothing that you did in the Commonwealth Games is going to help you in this season, and to stay humble and keep your head down and keep on working hard, and that's basically the message for the boys, is to start over again.
Next up for the team, a new Rugby Sevens World Series campaign. They've been gearing up for the season by playing practice matches against local university sides, as well as the touring Brazil Rugby Sevens team. Despite breaking New Zealand's 20-year Commonwealth Games run, the South African players are under no illusion that the Kiwis will once again be the team to beat.
I think if you look back over the last couple of years, last 10 years, you'll see, I mean, they would definitely be the benchmark. You know, I mean, for a team that's dominated the series for that many years in a row, that's, as a seven setup, that's what you aspire to do, is to make sure that you lay down your marker for not just 1 year, but for several years, you know, running, and make sure that people look at you and go, oh, you know, that's the benchmark team. And yeah, I think history says that, you know, definitely they are.
Among the onlookers here, Springbok wing Bryan Habana, who had wanted to be part of the Commonwealth Games squad, only for his French club to veto the plan. In the last 7 series, South Africa reached 5 finals in 9 tournaments, but disappointed on the other legs and ended the campaign as runners-up. The players are determined that won't be the case this time round.
I think New Zealand haven't gone worse than the semis in I don't know how long. I think it's about 2 years now, and that's the thing. You need to be that consistent to be successful in the IRB circuit, and that's something that we got fairly right in the beginning of the season. That first 6 tournaments, and unfortunately that last 3 we struggled a little bit and couldn't keep that consistency throughout the whole season.
The upcoming season will have an extra dimension to it. That's because the top 4 in the final log standings will all qualify for the Rio Olympics. And although South Africa will be confident of achieving at least that, they also know that the competition will be even more intense than usual.
I think every team's going to be a bit more pumped up for that. Olympic qualification, automatic qualification is you know, ideal at the end of this season, and you know, it'll definitely be one of the markers that we'll be shooting for. But we'll also, in the back of the mind, you know, our goal for this season is to go out and win it. It's that for us is the process that we want to go for, and you know, along that way we'd like to pick up Olympic qualification too.
If South Africa follow up that Commonwealth Games success with the first World 7 Series crown since 2009, then belief in the camp will rocket yet further, and perhaps that Olympic dream can become a reality. Dan Williams, CCTV, Stellenbosch, South Africa.
Now, Kenya is also gearing up for the new season in the IRB Sevens circuit. Barely 2 weeks from competition, Coach Paul True has hinted that the country's experienced crop of players may sit out the first leg in Gold Coast, Australia. And as Celestine Caronet reports, the technical bench is under no illusions that missing their veteran players will not affect performance.
The new faces of Kenya's Rugby Sevens team. Coach Paul True will rely on a young crop of players from Kenya's national sevens circuit during the country's annual Safaricom Sevens, their final build-up before the IRB season begins. Experienced players, including Kenya's all-time top try scorer, Collins Injera, left out of the team.
I've taken a firm stance, whether it's with people outside the team and whether it's even with our own players. We always say that change is inevitable. Growth is optional, and I think for the players, we have to manage their change process.
Safaricom Sevens will give the coach an opportunity to gauge these players, and the coach is all too aware of the gamble he is taking.
Our players might not be running fit, but they definitely match fit. It's going to be hard for us. Even going into the Safaricom Sevens this weekend, playing in front of 40,000 people is not going to be easy for some of these players. They've been coming almost like from club level straight to Safaricom, straight into international level. I think we've been talking about there's so much talent within Kenya. Now let's give that talent an opportunity.
Given to Werner Koch. He runs into Oscar Ayotte.
Last season, Kenya finished 7th in the IRB World Series, dropping 2 places from the previous season. And as True's management team begins their second season in charge, expectations are higher.
And I think we were crucified, throughout the season, for not allowing the players, to almost like to spread the ball a bit wider and just to use our pace out wide. I think we've learned our lessons. I think we definitely need to find a hybrid between playing physical and really to spread the ball to our speedsters. And I think that is what we've managed to do now. I think this season is going to be about performance and nothing else. We've been given the season to find our feet. That honeymoon period is over now, and now it's about going out there and get the job done.
The 43-year-old is contracted to the Kenyan Rugby Union until the 2016 Olympic Games. One of Paul True's mandate when he took on as a Kenya coach was to develop a side that can compete in the Olympics in 2016. Now, the changes he has made to the team is the first step to achieving that goal. But his challenge now lies in molding these players to big stage winners, especially since 2014-2015 season is an Olympic qualifying period. Celestine Karonei, CCTV in Nairobi.
All right, now all the sporting headlines here in Nairobi this weekend will all be about the Rugby Sevens. This year, the Safaricom Sevens tournament marks nearly 2 decades since its inception in 1996. But of more significance to Kenya's rugby union is that the tournament is now a gauge for the IRB as they review Kenya's bid to host an IRB World Series leg. Kenya is one of 16 bids for the 2015-2016 IRB World Series season. The tournament director spoke to us and explains what the sports governing body will be looking out for in their inspection this year.
The 3 key things that IRB will be looking out for when a tournament of this nature is being held is, one is player welfare. And player welfare starts from arrival, hotel, transfers, training, the gym, the pool that they're going to use. So player welfare is everything, the food that they're going to eat. So for them, the first thing, it's about the player. The next thing they look at is the facility, the playing condition of the pitch that the players will be playing at. The next thing is the support of the government and or the county. If you have the support of the government and or the county, then you're 90% there, because that's what they're looking out for. The challenges as we have as a country when you're bidding for something like this is obviously things to do with security, the infrastructure. This is an athletic stadium. When you talk about the fans, that engagement with the fans and the crowds is what we are looking out for. The distance with this running track has always been a challenge. So it's now for the IRB to come in and say, tick here, tick here, tick here, and we're good to go. So we hope that they can come in and look at the event. Kenya has a fan base world over. It would only be sort of a culmination of everything when we have all these fans and we're in this country.
All right, still with rugby, but further afield, Argentina will field a full international side at the Safaricom Sevens this weekend, making them one of the favorites for the tournament. But while they will feel confident of their chances for a title this time around, their 15th counterparts face a tough fixture. The Pumas host world #1 New Zealand in Buenos Aires, looking for their first rugby championship win. Argentina joined the rugby championships, a 4-nation Southern Hemisphere competition to boost its 15's standards. A draw against South Africa remains the highlight of their 2-year campaign. Their record against New Zealand's All Blacks, who are on the verge of defending their title, is not impressive. but former 7s and 15s player Santiago Gomez believes the players can improve on their 28-9 loss from the first leg.
Play against New Zealand is always the match that you want to play, but it's more difficult to play in the championship. So I expect the player can do the best, and we wish that. But we are learning that Argentina want to have a regular competition to develop the team, to grow as a team. If you don't have a regular competition, it's very difficult, and we are in that way. So it's not easy the first years. So I think that the players are going doing better and better each year. So they are going to do very well in Argentina.
Meanwhile, South Africa's Springboks will be buoyed by the fact that Australia are yet to win against them in Cape Town since 1992 ahead of their Rugby Championships fixture tomorrow. Coach Heineke Meyer's team put on a good display in their 14-10 loss to New Zealand in Wellington 2 weeks ago, but they have the knowledge that they have won the past 7 tests against the Wallabies at home. Even winning the last fixture between the two sides 28-8 last year. The South Africans did lose the corresponding fixture earlier this month in Perth, but are confident of retaining their number 2 status courtesy of home advantage and a strong squad at their disposal. Well, let's now take a quick break, but coming right up, we look at the myriad of challenges facing women's basketball in Africa.
That's a terrific dunk right there.
Welcome back to Match Point. Let's shift gears now. On Sunday, one of the fastest marathons on the World Marathon Majors circuit returns. I am, of course, speaking about the Berlin Marathon. Sunday's Berlin Marathon marks the 41st edition of the road race since its inauguration in 1974. The course has seen a total of 9 world records set there, 3 women and 6 men for the 11th year running. The popular race has entirely sold out its field of 40,000 runners. Now, the course record is currently held by Kenya's Wilson Kipsang, who ran a time of 2 hours 3.23 seconds last year in 2013. Now, the women's course record was set back in 2001 by Japan's Mizuki Noguchi. She ran a time of 2 hours 19.12 seconds. This time around. Who are the athletes to look out for in the German capital city? For the women, these 3 are serious contenders for the sub 2 hours 20 minutes time. Ethiopia's Feyse Tadesse has the best time heading into Berlin with a personal best of 2 hours 21.06 seconds, which she set in Paris in April this year. Her fellow compatriot Tirfi Tsegai is definitely in contention after finishing second in Berlin last year, while American Shalane Flanagan is currently the fastest American woman in the Berlin Marathon and has been training with this specific event in mind to become the fastest American ever over the distance. For the men, Kenya's Dennis Kimeto, who is the 3rd fastest marathon runner in history, will be the one to watch in Berlin. He set 2 hours 6.5 and 2 hours 3.45 at the Tokyo and Chicago marathons respectively last year, the latter being a personal best. Fellow Kenyan Emmanuel Mutai finished just 7 seconds behind Kimeto in Chicago and is also in the field this year. But these 2 Kenyans will be looking out for the man in the middle here, Tsegai Kebede of Ethiopia. He has won bronze at world and Olympic level and finished in the top 3 in, get this, 14 of his last 17 career marathons. Well, after the Berlin Marathon on Sunday, there are 2 more races in the World Marathon Majors this year. The Chicago Marathon is on the 12th of October, followed by the series conclusion in New York on the 2nd of November. Moving on to basketball, Uganda registered their first victory in the women's category of the Afro-Basket Zone 5 Championships earlier today. The three-team event sees Kenya, Egypt and hosts Uganda vying for a place at the All-Africa Games next year. Uganda was the only side yet to win a game, and having lost to Egypt on the opening day, there was no room for mistakes. The hosts were never on the back foot as they led by 17 points at the halftime break. Egypt was limited to only 9 points in the third quarter as Uganda extended their lead, Sharon Karungi and Claire Lamunu doing all the damage. The duo sunk 23 and 24 points respectively in a 78-45 win. The victory now gives the hosts a chance of finishing top if they can beat Kenya in the final game this Sunday.
We lost by 4 points when we played them, so our target was to beat them more than 5. So we had to work on a few things that dealt us on the last game we played with them. The good thing is our offense worked for us today, and as well as our defense was good. I think we played as a team, and that helped us achieve victory today.
They was way better than us, faster. They was ready. We got 3 days off, so I think we were sleepy a little. So it took us like the third quarter to just play.
All right, still on basketball, East Africa boasts a growing pool of basketball talent, with the sport rapidly gaining popularity in the region. The women's game, however, is still yet to fully take off, as CCTV's Leon Senyange reports.
Growing up with a sporty family, Evelyn Nora adopted the love for basketball at a tender age.
It was like I watched the NBA games in TV, and then in high school I just picked it up, and yeah, the rest is history, as they say.
Evelyn is currently among the oldest players in the Kenyan women national basketball team, having played for almost a decade. Unlike Evelyn, most women in East Africa don't start playing basketball until they are in their teens.
I think in any sport you need to start nurturing at a younger age, because you see basically if you instill things like camps and teaching basketball in school, then at a younger age it's easy for someone to actually gain the knowledge and also practice and everything. So by the time they're reaching an age of 18, they actually have mastered the art of the game.
Despite a growing number of women taking part in basketball, there are calls for more training. Officials admit that getting these players more involved in competitions could help set the bar high in the women's game.
If we have just official competitions, we cannot push higher the level of our women basketball. We have to think in our federations, in our zone, how we can organize maybe some tournaments, amical tournaments, official tournaments, to play more basketball, and also to help our players who are outside to come and play.
But out of the 10 women's teams within Africa's Great Lakes region, only 3 are taking part in the regional championships here.
Different federations have started to organize again, and now we need the involvement of federations, all players, and also all the government to help women basketball to push and to become high level.
While there is registered success for women's teams from Western North Africa, the African Basketball Federation says most support is still needed to increase access to the game in other regions. Currently, no East African side is among the top 10 women's teams in the continental rankings. Evelyn and her Kenyan side may for now celebrate victory, but breaking into the ranks could take more than just sinking game-winning baskets. Leon Senyange, CCTV, Kampala.
All right, now by the end of this weekend, we should know the 2 finalists to the 2014 CAF Champions League. On Sunday, DR Congo side TP Mazembe host Algeria's Sétif, seeking to overturn a 2-1 result in the first leg. Meanwhile, Sfaxien of Tunisia meet Congo's AS Vita on Saturday, banking on their precious away goal from the first leg. The North Africans lost 2-1 in Congo last week, and it was team captain Ali Maloul who got the all-important goal, away goal, when he scored in the 69th minute. The team has been training in Tunisia under the eye of coach Philippe Troussier, knowing that they are the only of the 4 semi-finalists to have never previously won the Continental Trophy. They came closest in 2006 when they lost to the finals 2-1 on aggregate against Al Ahly of Egypt.
Another round on our ground in Sfaxien. The first leg enabled us to keep our changes to qualify thanks to the important goal scored away. We have to do our best in this match against the Congolese team so that we can win and qualify. We are doing the right thing to reach there.
The
first leg was difficult. We were 2-0 down. Thank God we scored a goal away. This is an important goal and we have to build on this achievement so we can go on and win.
Interesting news coming out of Switzerland. Football's governing body FIFA has agreed to ban the third-party ownership of players 7 years after first making the promise to outlaw the practice. Third-party ownership is when the transfer of rights of players are fully or partially owned by the footballer himself or a company instead of just the player's club. The practice is quite common in Brazil and Argentina and is also present in some European countries such as Portugal, but banned in others including England, France and Portugal. FIFA President Sepp Blatter said that a working group will be set up to implement the ban, but it will be some time before it is implemented.
And a working group has presented a report, and now we took the decision, firm decision, that TPO should be banned. But it cannot be banned immediately. There will be a transitional period, and this working group under the chairmanship of Jeffrey Thompson is working on that. That's very important.
It was also clear that the only one way to fight against third-party ownership is just to put in place a ban. It was also clear that the ban cannot be implemented as the financial fair play immediately, and we are discussing about the number of transfer windows we have to keep in order for this ban to be implemented. So are we talking about 6, meaning 3 years, or 8, meaning 4 years? That's the discussion which will take place in the next week at FIFA with this working group. And we hope that by the next executive committee in December in Marrakesh, the term to implement this ban would be precise and given to the executive committee for final decision.
All right, now Yao Ming was literally and figuratively the biggest sporting star in China. He was the first ever foreign developed player to be the #1 pick in the NBA draft and was also the first Asian player chosen to take part in the NBA All-Star Game, a feat that he accomplished 6 times. Unfortunately, injuries did cut his career short, but that doesn't mean he hasn't been busy, as the former Houston Rockets center has devoted much of his time to philanthropy. He recently sat down with CCTV's Wang Dong to discuss basketball, charity and a whole lot more.
I mean, great to have you with us. First of all, congratulations on your tremendous progress of your Yao Foundation. What might be the foundation itself's midterm and long-term objectives, if you will?
Well, in the long-term part, yes, we try increase the sports activity in school system, and we have very close relationship with the CYDF, and with their help, that we are able to reach many schools in the country, particularly those schools in the countryside. We believe that sports, particularly the team sports such as basketball, can help the kids to make a different personality afterwards. They should learn how to cooperate with other teammates or friends. 3 years ago, when we just launched this project, everything made by us, hand to hand. That we started with 47 schools, including the 18 schools built by us. Last year, and we have 79, and this year we have nearly 160.
That's quite a jump there already.
Right, but in the meantime, that we always worry about the quality control. With the school number we spend, but we also need more volunteer and also give them better training.
Are you happy with the new lineup of the Chinese national basketball team, full of youngsters, full of new faces? How much can they still develop, these young stars, really?
If you talk about these young stars, I think the sky is their limit. They are passionate, they are young, they are full energy, they are hungry. That's most importantly. And that I think they need a good platform for themselves to show everybody what kind of a talent they have.
Well, of course, I mean, talking about the CBA and the Chinese domestic league, this season is going to be a tough season with some new faces as well. Your prediction of these Shanghai Sharks?
I think this team is at an edge that we either start right now or a couple of years later. But I think I made my own decision that we take this move, and I'm confident with my current staff and my coach, Ma Yunan, will take this team to a new future in the next 2 or 3 years. But we just need to be patient out there.
One of your former teammates from the Houston Rockets, Ron Artest, is going to be joining the CBA. What would you like to say to him? Or
my name is long gone. Actually, he's a world peace, matter world peace,
otherwise known.
And now he's a Panthers friend, deep Panthers friends. But anyway, after all, the name didn't change his nature. He is wonderful people. A great guy, great fans, and a competitor. I will open my arm to welcome him to CBA, to China.
Well, there you have it from the big man himself. Finally, though pool is very popular in countries such as South Africa, nowhere does the sport regularly pull in crowds in numbers as in Uganda. The East African country has warmed up to the sport that had more than 10,000 participants at a recent event. Despite the stereotypes surrounding the sport, pool in itself has seen itself grow exponentially countrywide. Matchpoint caught up with one of Uganda's top pool players as well as the local federation chairman.
My name is Oscar Chakachon and I'm a Ugandan pool player. Everyone you tell that I play pool, they actually think pool is for drunkards. Yes, the tables and the bars, but people have tables at home. So that stereotype is actually what I would say degrades the game. But the fact of the matter is, yes, it's a professional game. And being professional, we know how to manage ourselves. The game is full of skills because yes, you will pot a ball like anyone will, but then if you know that extra drag, if you know how to spin that ball, if you know how to move that white ball, if you know how to take that drop back, now that is what differentiates the person who plays for the country from the guy who plays in the back. But at this level, the skill is quite essential for you actually to reach a high level. Every time you actually get to a tournament, if you go to meet people and play them pool, you actually realize and learn that yes, this is the guy I actually would beat very easily last time, but today he's giving me a challenge. Pool has gotten very competitive, and honestly, you can never underestimate any pool player that you play.
The potential that pool has in this country is simply so great. Our target is to have the best players on the continent, so that, you know, Ugandan pool players can win awards on the African continent and overseas. So when we start having that, we will be satisfied. We want to grow the number of ladies that participate in our events nationally. And that's the challenge. So within the next 1 or 2 years, we're going to be extending our programs to the countryside to attract women. Because we have the women, but they are a bit few in numbers. Our goal within the next 10 years is to make sure that we change people's lives through the game of pool.
All right, well, that rounds up this week's edition of Matchpoint. Do join us again next week. Remember, you can send your feedback to matchpoint@cctv.com. You can also visit our Facebook page, CCTV Africa, or use Twitter to stay in touch. The handle is @CCTV News Africa. Well, thanks for watching. I'm Mahe Mutwa.